All right, folks, we're starting out laying down. So get you into your most comfortable laying down position. Close your eyes and start to deepen your breath. And give yourself a lot of time to fidget and make it just right. Allow each breath to expand more space into your torso. And allow the exhales to strengthen and compress the belly button inward, cleaning out your lungs. Allow the breath to make that roaring sound in your ears. And as you lay here, just deepening your breath and inviting in longer and slower breath, let's play around with a little counting rhythm that you can use to just cultivate a nice, deep, long breath. So I like to start off with a count of 4. You can think of it as maybe 4 seconds or something longer than a second, but inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold up at the top of your inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold at the bottom of your exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's keep going. We're thinking of tracing a little square shape, okay, with the breath. And let's keep this 4 count. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Rhythm going. Find that you can just settle in, make it, kind of find your momentum with it. And let's start to observe what happens in the space between the breath. How does that feel when the breath is paused? And take a few more rounds just like this. You might find that 4 counts is working great. You might want to slow it down. See if you could bring it up to 5. Let's see if we can hold on to this very long, very slow breath, okay, as we begin to move around a little bit. Let's get some windshield wipers going and get the hips a little bit more awakened. So if you bring your feet in close by your hips and then take them kind of wide, you can start to drop your knees side to side. So we want to feel some nice space opening up. Inner and outer hip. Notice that low back. Okay, we're wringing out your pelvis from side to side. So I usually feel a few pops and adjustments here. You probably do too. In general, that's just synovial fluid redistributing, and it's all good. Your body's just balancing itself out. Let's take the arms a little cactus shape out to the side here and start to press against the floor so that you can activate that lower body a little bit more. So with more stability in the upper body, we can get more mobility in the lower body. And then let's kick this up a little more. Next time your knees point up, pause here. Pick your feet up off the floor and put your knees together. And without letting your shoulder blades leave the floor, let's start hovering the knees on one side and then the other. So we've taken that gentle twist we were just doing, and we've kicked it up a little bit. We've moved the twist from the lower back into the middle, maybe into the upper back. But we're still keeping that stability in the upper body. Remember to keep your breath moving here. Okay, next time your legs drop to the right, let them fall all the way. So let the knees drop all the way out to the right. If you want to grab a knee with your right hand, go for it. You can give it a little gentle press downward. Your left arm is still in a cactus shape, and you're looking over at your left hand here. We'll take a few breaths in this twist. So I want you really pressing your upper body down here, thinking of lifting your chest up as you ground your shoulder blades. Maybe one more breath in your twist. And let those knees swing through center. Let's drop them to the other side. So drop them to the left. Same idea here. Let them fall. Left hand might grab the top knee, kind of press it downward gently. The right arm will be in a cactus shape, and you're pressing down into the floor with your shoulder blades, thinking of lifting your chest here. Use your big breath. Long spine inhales. Strong belly exhales. Maybe one more breath here. All right, very nice. Let's bring the legs back through center. Okay, we're taking hands down by the hips now. We're going to come up to some bridges. So step your feet quite close to your hips. And we want to imagine that our feet, knees, and hips are all in the same plane. So two parallel planes here. And if you look at your knees, you can imagine that you've got that imaginary tennis ball between them. There's some engagement inward. So you feel the whole inner surface of each leg trying to move toward the other. And keep that, please, as we start to lift and lower. So inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Okay, so we'll take a few more rounds just like this, lifting and lowering. As you move, do your best to point your nose straight up, and this will help keep the back of your neck from touching down. We want to keep it softly arching off the floor so that it's very neutral. Okay, instead of allowing movement to happen in the cervical spine, in your neck, we want all that movement to happen in your middle and your low back. So see if you could even think of peeling the tailbone up first and rolling the other vertebrae up after it. And then placing one vertebra at a time back down. The tailbone is the last to uncurl. So you're going to feel your glutes really kick in here. You're going to feel your hamstrings. And you want to keep that imaginary tennis ball between your knees. So keep that inward engagement. All right, now I'm going to ask you to come up and I'm going to ask you to hold. So come on up, hold right here. Pull those knees toward each other. Okay, neck is soft off the floor. Maybe bend your elbows and press them down into the floor. Really strong pressing down into the floor. Let's take one more big breath here, activating your back body. And we'll roll down in slow motion. So slow motion, replacing those vertebrae. Come on down. All right, really feel those glutes and hamstrings after that. So tuck your hands behind your knees. We're gonna rock it up here. Come on up. From here, point your knees out to the right, okay? And your feet will be over on the left here. And I wanna get into a little bit of hip work with you. So we'll build a box shape. So here's where we're going with our box shape. Your right shin, go ahead and line it up with the edge of your space. So your right shin is parallel to your hips and your shoulders, okay? And your right knee points straight out in front of you. So there's one right angle. You're looking at it, okay? Let's make the same shape with the left leg, but we'll point the left knee straight out to the left, okay? And the left foot straight behind you. So here's your second right angle. So we have two right angles. And I want you to do your best to just line them up. So we call this a box shape. And if you want to lean on your right hand, you totally can. Don't feel like you have to struggle and keep your upper body upright without support. However, if you feel like you can lift your right hand and you enjoy that extra sense of challenge and inward strength, then please do that. I like to kind of grab my elbows here to get my arms out of the way. But remember, you can lean onto your right hand. Okay, that being said, the third right angle is your upper body with the floor. So your upper body is at a right angle to the floor. Okay, so here's our challenge. So look at your right foot. I want you to lift your right foot up off the floor. We're going to take a big breath in first. With your exhale, lift your right foot up off the floor. You're going to have to take the knee with it too. Full exhale. Inhale, drop that right leg back to the floor. We're going to do it again. Exhale, hover that right leg. It's going to be a challenge. Inhale, drop it. We're going to do it one more time, okay? Exhale, hover that right leg. Now hold here with me. We're going to hold and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now let it go. Let the right leg rest. Notice how that feels, okay? This hip is externally rotated. The left hip, we're going to start to play around with this. So this left hip is internally rotating. It's going to be a little different on this side, but we'll do a similar idea. This time, let's keep the left knee down at first. We'll just lift the left foot. Ready? Big breath in. As you exhale, hover that left foot. So feel the internal rotation working in your hip. Exhale completely as you hover. Inhale, release it. Again, exhale, hover that left foot. Inhale, let it go. We're going to do it one more time, okay? Exhale, hover the left foot. Now hover the knee too. Hover that whole left leg just off the floor. Do your best to hold, breathe, stay calm for 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1. Let that go. Notice how both of your hips feel. Go ahead and lean back on your hands here. And we'll do some windshield wipers with the knees just to shake it out. Okay, so with these box shapes, we're really working the internal and external rotators in the hips. And it's kind of like we're just doing our homework to keep our hips really healthy. So think of this as hip homework. So now we're going to switch sides. So next time your knees point out to the left, pause there. Okay, you're pretty much in that box shape already, but we'll just refine it. So the first right angle will be the left leg. So you'll point that left knee straight out away from your left hip. You'll line that left shin up with your hips and shoulders. So there's right angle number 1. The right leg is right angle number 2. So point that right knee straight out away from you, okay? You want the right thigh to be parallel with the left shin, so everything is really crisp, okay? And that right knee is also at a right angle. So same idea here. You can lean to the left if you want to, but I want you to find a little bit of challenge where you're activating and you're holding yourself up, at least a little bit. Okay. So we'll start with the left leg. Are you ready? We're going to hover the whole thing 3 times. Here's number 1. We're inhaling when it's down. Exhale here. Hover that left leg. Exhale completely. Inhale, let it go. Exhale, hover completely. One more time. Inhale, let it go. So this one we're going to hold, okay? Exhale, bring it up and hold right here. So hip homework, it's worth it. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it go. Rest it. Notice how it feels. Let's do the right leg, okay? So at first we'll just lift the foot. We'll really dig into that internal rotation in the right hip. So here we go. Big breath in. Exhale, hover that right foot. Exhale completely as you hover. Inhale to let it go. Other side. Big exhale. Lift and hover. Inhale to let it go. Okay, this time we're going to lift the foot and then the whole leg, and we'll hold there, okay? So exhale, hover that right foot. Hold it. Now lift the right knee and breathe. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it go. Notice how the hips are feeling now. Go ahead and lean back on your hands. Give it a little windshield wiper. Okay, my friends, from here, next time your knees point out to one side, just flip it over to hands and knees. I'll meet you here. Okay, from hands and knees, I want you to tuck your toes, lift your knees, and walk it back to hang. So your hands walk back to your feet. Take a little time just to bend into one knee more than the other. You might grab your elbows here just for a little while, just hanging. Notice if you tend to put more weight in the back of your foot, and see if you could rock the weight equally between the front and back of your foot. Check out how that feels. And then go ahead and put a nice bend in both your knees, okay? So you really can hang your chest down close to your knees. And take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and move them away from you. So from here, is it possible that you could rock your weight over to the left, put that left shoulder very close to your left knee, and turn to look to the right? Let's switch sides. We're going to rock our weight over to the right, drop the right shoulder close to the right knee, and look to the left. Let's do that a few times side to side. So find a little bit of natural fluidity here. Cultivating length in the whole back body, okay? The backs of your legs, the whole back of your torso. Next time you come over to the left, pause right there, looking to the right, hold and breathe. Let your head hang. Let's shift it to the right. Pause over there, hold and breathe. Bringing yourself back through center, release your hands all the way back to the floor. Palms are coming down. Walk those hands forward. We are back on hands and knees. Let's get this right knee forward. Drop the right foot by that right hand. We'll tuck the back toes and lift the back knee here. Keep in mind you can always drop it if you feel like this is a little too much and you just want it to be more gentle, okay? But back knee up is okay for now. We're gonna rock the hips back and forward. So this can be a tiny movement or a big movement. I just want you to get a sense of how the back of the right leg feels, how the front of the left feels. And next time you come forward back into that lunge, pause right here. Okay, pause and we'll settle into this low lunge. So we're dropping the back knee if it was up. Use this right leg to press up to your low lunge. So here we are, and I want to spend a little time here, okay? So remember to keep your legs active. In these postures, it's so easy to get passive and kind of sink down into them. And that's not really the best way for us to lengthen any kind of muscle tissue. We want a little bit of activity when we're lengthening. So press down through that right foot and pull back a little bit to activate your hamstring. Press down through that left knee and pull forward a little bit to activate that quad. And from there, if you need a little break, you can rest with your hands on your right thigh or come down. But if you're feeling pretty good about all this, you can take your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, and think of pointing your pointer fingers at someone behind you. And we're going to take 3 long, slow breaths here. So we're really allowing tissues on the fronts and backs of the leg to lengthen and balance themselves out. 2 more breaths. Long and slow. The legs remain so active. Last breath. As you're ready to come down, drop your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to bring it into a pigeon posture. So let's walk this right foot to the left. We're dropping that right knee. Coming down into pigeon. So take your time. Stay up with me here before you fold all the way down. Make sure your hips are level with the mat, okay? The back of the back foot, the left foot, has the top of the foot on the floor, so the hip is internally rotating. As you're ready, you can come all the way down, but we want to keep those legs a little active here. So give a little press into the floor. If your head wants to come down, go for it. Remember to keep the glutes active, keep all parts of the legs at least a little bit turned on, and do push that floor. Maybe just one more big breath here in your pigeon posture. Okay. See if you can release any tension that might remain in your hips. As you're ready, we're going to come up and out. So come back up on your hands. Tuck those left toes. And come back up through hands and knees. From here, tucked toes, you can lift your knees and bring yourself all the way back to another fold. So come on back. Take your time here with bent knees, just letting your torso hang and drape over your legs. Close your eyes. From here, hands walk back, forward, and coming back to hands and knees. So let's do all that on the other side. Let's take the left foot forward by your left hand. Tuck your back toes so that your back knee can lift. And if that's too much, you know that you always have the option to keep the back knee down. So just keep your options open there. Either way, let's bring the hips forward and back a few times. Okay, just kind of feeling out. How's the back of the left leg? How's the front of the right?
First lady.
And then allow yourself to settle back into a lunge. So let's bring the back knee down, finding a low lunge. So you might want to use this left leg for a little bit of a prop to press yourself up.
Pod, I can even move you. Yeah, my first.
And if you want to stay with your hands on that left leg, go for it. But if you're feeling pretty good, I want you to ground into both your legs. You're pushing the right knee down and forward, and you're pulling the left foot down and back. So strong in the legs, and that'll help you release where you need to release. Go ahead and get those arms up overhead. Point those pointer fingers behind you. Big breath here. So you're thinking of spreading open the whole front body from the right knee up to your chest.
Really people have to be like absolutely naked.
All right, my friends. So from here, one more big breath in. And as you're ready, all hands down in front. We're transitioning to a pigeon. So let's shimmy this left foot over to the right and drop that left knee. So take your time. Okay, we want to make sure the hips are level with the floor. That's super important. We want to make sure the top of the back foot is on the floor. And we want to make sure both legs are active. So all the tissues are firming inward. We have glutes turned on. We have quads and hamstrings. Everything's on. Then we can come down. Give yourself several long, slow breaths here. And find that perfect equilibrium. How much do you need to activate the legs to get some release in your hips and your glutes? Maybe you feel your low back letting go a little bit. All right, take your time coming up and out of this. Pressing back up on your hands, tucking those back toes. Back to hands and knees. And then from here, let's come up and back to another forward fold. So lift your knees, walk your hands back to your feet. And take a moment just to hang here. Okay, so this is a really nice place for us to come after opening up the backs of the legs so we can notice, does this feel any different? Do you have any more space behind your legs and your hamstrings? Maybe your low back. From here, we're going to come all the way down to a seat. So bend your knees and come to a seat. Let's shake the legs out front. So I want to get into kind of a deep hip opener with you. So I'll give you a couple options. Always feel free to modify and make it more gentle, especially if you feel pain. We don't want to feel any pain. So grab your right foot and pull your right knee in, or pull your right foot in. Plant it by your hips. So if you can comfortably get your right foot on the floor next to your body and your knee points up, awesome. But if it's super uncomfortable, you can modify just by putting the foot, like laying the knee down and stepping on your left inner thigh, or just take the right foot a little further away from you if that's too much compression in your knee. Either way, get your right arm on the inside of your right leg and drop your fingers on either side of your left leg. And I want you to really strengthen your left leg and push down into the floor with both your legs. So your right foot is pushing down, your left leg is pushing down, and you're long in your spine. We'll start from there. So I want you to imagine you want to bring your toe, your left big toe towards your heart and your heart towards your left big toe. So start to walk your heart toward that left big toe and just pause where you feel your spine starting to round. So we have this right leg out here, kind of like a wing. And perhaps you notice that if you bend your right elbow, you can hook your right arm in front of your right shin. So just try that out. For some folks, it works right away. For some folks, there's not quite enough clearance. And that's not a problem. Just kind of notice where you are, okay? If you're still working on getting the elbow in front of the shin, then I just want you to play around with that relationship, tucking the elbow and pressing it back into the shin, noticing that you can propel your heart further forward when you do that. If you can really get the elbow around, okay, in front of the shin, maybe you reach your right hand behind your back and kind of touch your back. So try that out. Keep pushing into the floor and do your best to keep your spine long, even though it's challenging. If that works, great. Put your left hand behind your back and see if you can find your right hand, okay? You might be able to grab your wrists, okay? If not, no problem. Just keep working or back it up a step. Okay, keep looking for it. But from here, if you've got that leg in your arms, I really want you to squeeze that leg like you're trying to fuse it into your torso. It's going to create a lot of heat in your body. Just breathe through it. Extend that left leg, press down into the floor with all your lower body. And I want to take a few more breaths here. Okay, really getting into that hip crease, into your low back. For some reason, this one creates a whole lot of heat. Okay, as you're ready to back out of this, come out slowly, okay? Release your fingers back down on either side of the left leg. Come up to a straight, tall spine. And I want to try this with you here. See if you could reach down and pick up your right foot in your right hand. Okay, just pick it up. Okay. If you could, grab your right hand with both feet and kind of move it up and down a few times. How would that feel? Okay, so you're kind of playing around with what kind of range of motion you have here without pain. There's no pain at all. And you can stay here just playing around with this range of motion, or I'm going to give you a step that you can kind of work into. So if you could bend your left elbow and hook it around your right foot, how would that feel? Maybe your left hand can grab onto your right calf. Okay. At that point, your right hand can let go of your right foot and you can sit up tall. Okay. Maybe that right elbow wraps around your right knee and both arms are now holding your right lower leg like a baby. And this is what we call rock the baby pose. So hold your baby very close to your heart, sit up super tall. And you can rock around here, massaging out your glute on the floor. Okay, you can stay here if you want to. Or I'm going to give you one more option that you can play around with. Okay. If everything's going great, you feel amazing here, you're going to take your right hand onto your right foot. I like to use my thumb and bunny fingers to loop my right big toe. And you can play around with extending that right leg out in front of you. So you might keep the knee very bent, and that's totally fine. You might keep it very extended. That's great. But put at least a little bit of bend in it. And maybe you think about pulling that right toe toward the top of your head. Just keep strong legs here. Okay, whatever you're playing with, one more big breath in. And then we're going to let all that go. Let that right leg come all the way back out in front. You can set it down carefully. Maybe lean back and kind of shake your legs out. So now it's time to do the other side. Okay, so this time the right leg will be the long straight leg that will stay out on the floor. And the left foot we're going to bring in close to the hips. Okay, we can play around with maybe further away if that's too much compression on the knee, putting it down on the floor, whatever's going to work for you today. But either way, left arm on the inside of the left knee, fingers down around that right leg. So we have a long spine. We're starting to move the heart toward that right big toe and vice versa. So the heart, toe moving toward each other. So put some push down into the floor. I want you to keep your lower body active. It's not asleep. If it's possible for you to begin to experiment with the shin and the tricep relationship on the left here, get that left arm into a little wing and hook it in front of your shin. See how you can press yourself forward with that action. Okay. If that's feeling pretty good, wrap the left arm behind you. Right hand looks for its friend. You can grab your wrist. And if that's working, I want you to squeeze that leg into your torso. Nice breath. So keep the legs strong and active here. We're not going to clock off quite yet. Releasing a lot of heat and tension in the hip. And we're just breathing through it. Okay, maybe one more breath here. Feels nice. And let's let that go. Backing out slowly. So release that slowly. Fingers around the right leg. Press yourself back up. So let's see if we can work into rocking this left leg like a little baby. So we can pick that left foot up. Okay, see how that feels. Extend and flex the knee. Left foot in right elbow. Left knee and left elbow. Okay, you're holding your baby. Pull it close to your heart. Sit up nice and tall. You can rock around on that glute. You can massage that left glute on the floor here. Okay, it should feel good. So stay here or work on hooking the left toe with your thumb and bunny fingers and maybe extending that left knee partially or fully. It's really up to you. Okay, you can work on pulling that left foot to your head. You feel some nice opening in the back of the left leg. Maybe one more breath in here, the whole back of the left leg, letting go. And let's set it down really carefully and slowly. Okay, from here, we're going to come all the way down. So with your legs out in front of you, see if you could roll down in slow motion, rounding your spine, reaching forward. How long can you take to come down? When you finally come down to the mat, find your resting posture and completely let go. You can let your breath just go at its natural pace. Allow all of your muscles to let go completely. So now is the time to be 100% passive in your body, in your mind, in your breath. All right, my friends, please keep resting like this for as long as you can. This is where I'll leave you tonight. Thanks so much for joining me.